All right, guys, we are going to be reacting to Living in Russia, land of extremely beautiful women and pristine architecture. Jump in.
Have you ever wondered what truly makes a place worth living in? Is it housing under $1,000 or a six-figure salary? Watch until the end to discover life in Russia, a country many have called one of the most livable places on earth.
Dang, wow. Yeah, they do that stuff, man. That's
Russia
crazy,
is in
bro.
a unique position, stretching from Eastern Europe all the way to Asia, covering more than 17 million square kilometers,
Wow.
the largest in the world, and spanning across 11 different time zones. On this vast land live around 146 million people, of whom over 80% are ethnic Russians.
Mm.
In addition, this country is also home to more than 190 different ethnic groups, from the Tatars and Bashkirs to the Yakuts, each community adding its own cultural piece to the Russian identity. The population is densest in the western region, especially around the capital city, Moscow, and Saint Petersburg, a major center of culture and the arts. In contrast, Siberia and the Far East, despite making up most of the territory, are sparsely populated due to the harsh climate. Winters here can drop to minus 50 degrees Celsius, with snow covering the ground for months on end, while summers are short, hot, and dry.
Yeah.
Moscow is the capital, spanning over 2,500 square kilometers, with a population of around 13 million. Known as the heart of Russia, it's not only the political center but also the city, with the highest standard of living in the country. The cost of living here ranks among the most expensive in Europe.
Wow,
Renting a
really?
small apartment in the city center ranges from $1,000 to $2,000 per month,
Okay.
while in the suburbs, that number can be cut in half. Most residents live in high-rise apartment blocks, from old Soviet-style buildings to modern complexes that have sprung up over the past 2 decades.
And I think they're building more too. That's what I think they're doing. So that's something else.
Daily expenses
mention.
also vary widely. A meal at a budget eatery might cost just $5 to $7, but at restaurants in the city center, that number can be 4 to 5 times higher. The metro system is cheap, about $1 per ride,
Wow.
making it the best way to save on transportation.
Wow.
Since
Cheap,
taxis
cheap.
and private cars are quite costly due to fuel shortages and traffic congestion. Amid this modern city, the Kremlin still stands tall and majestic right next to Red Square.
Wow.
It's not just the political center and the workplace of the Russian president, but also a complex of palaces, fortresses, and cathedrals built in the 15th century.
Wow.
Inside are national treasures, the world's largest bell and cannon, and churches topped with golden domes. The Kremlin is a symbol connecting the Tsarist past, Soviet memory, and today's Russian power. Muscovites are known to be rather direct and serious. But once you step into
Elegant
everyday
as well.
life, you'll notice warmth and closeness. In family gatherings, among friends, during long meals, or over cups of tea and vodka. Compared to Moscow, the cost of living in other Russian cities is generally much lower, both in terms of daily expenses and income levels. In St. Petersburg, known as Russia's cultural capital, apartment rents are typically 30 to 40% cheaper. A one-bedroom apartment in the city center may cost only around $600 to $800 per month. Food, transportation, and public services in St. Petersburg are also more affordable, making many people consider it a more livable city in terms of cost, even though the average salary is lower than in Moscow. In industrial cities like Ekaterinburg, Novosibirsk, or Kazan, rent and living costs are even lower. A small apartment can cost as little as $300 to $500 per month. A basic meal might only be a few dollars. However, wages in these areas are also significantly lower.
It's of course very competitive, right? Don't get it twisted. It's kind of competitive since I'm sorry, since you had you're close to the west. Probably the arts are very big in Saint Petersburg. Probably IT, that's what I'm guessing. So there's a lot of competition there.
Typically ranging from $600 to $800 per month. The further you go into Siberia or the Far East, the more noticeable the gap becomes. The price of essential goods is higher due to transportation costs, but incomes don't rise accordingly. In fact, in Yakutsk, the coldest city in the world, fresh food can cost twice as much as in Moscow, while living conditions are much harsher.
Yeah.
If you were to live in Russia, which region would you choose?
Damn,
Let me
that's
know in the comments below.
yeah. That's Moscow seems like the place to be. Saint Petersburg. Saint Petersburg's too liberal. That's the only thing.
Moscow may overwhelm you with its grand architecture, but what many people remember most about Russia are the faces walking down the street. Russian women have long been known for a kind of beauty that
Yeah.
takes people by surprise. The most noticeable traits are their tall figures, long legs, and
Yep.
well-proportioned bodies, thanks in part to genetic blends from Slavic, Baltic, and even Eurasian ethnic groups. Their facial features are often striking: high cheekbones, straight
Yeah.
noses, and deep-set eyes in shades of blue, gray, or green, colors rarely seen elsewhere.
Oh yeah.
Those very eyes, sharp and intense when serious, but lighting up the entire face when smiling, leave a
Just the
lasting
way
impression.
it's the way they dress is very nice. The way they dress is very nice, man.
Russian women often have fair, thin skin that blushes easily in the cold, giving a naturally flushed, makeup-like
Very
look.
stylish.
Most have light-colored hair, ranging from golden blonde to light brown, sometimes with hints of red. And under sunlight or warm lighting, it always draws attention. What sets them apart even more is their sense of presence. For Russian women, taking care of their appearance is simply part of life. They might wear dresses, tall boots, and long coats,
Yeah.
even just to run a quick errand.
That look like an American. I don't look like a Russian. I'm sorry.
Perhaps it's the
Yeah.
striking appearance and confident demeanor of Russian women
Yeah.
that lead people to think Russians are friendly and outgoing. But in reality, the opposite is often true. Russian communication culture has a very distinct character. Few words, directness, and sometimes a sense of coldness toward strangers. Russians don't usually make small talk with polite greetings or courteous smiles like in the West. They rarely smile without a genuine reason. A serious face walking down a street in Moscow doesn't mean someone is upset. It's simply their way of maintaining composure in public spaces. However, once you get past that outer layer, the difference becomes clear. In friendships and family relationships, Russians are incredibly warm and sincere.
They all walking like
They
they're
enjoy
models, man.
long gatherings around the table, sipping tea or vodka, speaking frankly, debating intensely, yet still holding on to their affection in the end. For them, communication isn't about formality. It's about truly connecting.
Mm. I will watch this video. I remember this one.
Moscow is considered the
They're in
economic
a
heart
different
of
region
Russia.
in Russia.
It's the country's
Stop.
largest
The
economic
robot.
center,
The robot.
home to many high-paying industries such as finance, information technology, oil and gas, diplomacy, and international trade. The average salary here is around $1,500 to $2,000 per month, nearly double that of many other regions. Saint Petersburg, the cultural capital, stands out with its focus on the arts, tourism, education, and services. Salaries are typically 20 to 30% lower than in Moscow, but lower living and housing costs make it attractive to young people. In industrial cities like Ekaterinburg, Novosibirsk, or Kazan, common
Mm.
professions include mining, metallurgy, mechanical manufacturing, and energy.
Yeah.
Jobs are stable, but salaries range only from $600 to $800 per month, with limited room.
But of course, at the same time, the products and the service are cheaper than any Western nation. So it's almost, you put it all together, it's almost the same, you know?
For creativity. Farther into Siberia and the Far East, in places like Yakutsk or Vladivostok, the economy mainly relies on natural resource extraction, fishing, and transportation. However, the cost of living is higher due to logistics and supply issues. As a result, many young workers try to move to Moscow or Saint Petersburg, where income is higher and career opportunities are broader, though the pressure of competition and high costs come with it.
I remember this one. I remember that video.
Russia is known not only for its rich history and culture,
You see how comfortable they look, man. You see how the women are very comfortable.
unforgettable travel experiences.
Wow.
However, if you're planning a trip to Russia, here are a few things you'll want to keep in mind.
Whoa.
If you're heading to Moscow, there are 3 must-see landmarks: Red Square, the Kremlin, and St. Basil's Cathedral. Entrance to the Kremlin costs around $15 to $20.
That's not
While
bad.
St. Basil's, with its colorful onion domes, is about $8. But honestly, it's the feeling of standing in the middle of the square, surrounded by centuries of history, that stays with you the most. Food in Moscow is quite diverse. A budget meal will cost just $5 to $7.
Wow.
But if you dine at a fancy restaurant in the city center, the bill can easily jump to $25 to $30
But
per
that's not
person.
bad.
For getting around,
That's cheap. If you go to a fancy restaurant here in downtown, where I live, you're looking at per person, you're looking at $40, $50.
choose the metro. It's fast,
Dope.
convenient, and only $1 per ride. Taxis, on the other hand, can cost 5 to 6 times more and are often stuck in traffic. Leaving Moscow, St. Petersburg will win you over. Often called the Venice of the North, this city is best visited in June, during the White Night season, when the sun barely sets.
Oh.
The Hermitage Museum, home to
Yeah,
over
because
3
very north.
million artworks,
Up north.
takes a full day to explore. Tickets cost around $10 to $12. Mid-range hotels range from $60 to $100 per night, while hostels are much cheaper, about
How's that?
$15 to $25. Just be sure to book early, as prices tend to spike during peak season. A bit farther out, Lake Baikal in Siberia is a dream for nature lovers. A round-trip flight from Moscow to Irkutsk, the gateway to Baikal, costs around $150 to $200. Meals here are cheaper than in the capital, just $3 to $5 per meal. But you'll want to set aside extra for trekking tours or boat rides on the lake, which range from $30 to $70 a day. In winter, the lake freezes into crystal clear ice. In summer, it turns a deep, refreshing blue. Truly a sacred sea
the hell is
to the
that?
Russian people.
Oh, that looks
If
very
you're
good.
chasing the northern lights,
That looks
head to
very good.
Murmansk in the far north. Aurora tours range from $80 to $120 per night and usually include transportation. However, be prepared. Food and lodging here are more expensive than average due to the high cost of transporting everything from afar. Then there's Kazan, the capital of Tatarstan, a different face of Russia. Entrance to the Kazan Kremlin is free for outdoor areas, and some buildings inside cost just $5 to $10. Tatar cuisine is delicious and affordable. A filling meal will only set you back $4 to $6, noticeably cheaper than in Moscow. Finally, if you truly want to feel the vastness of Russia, take the Trans-Siberian Railway. The journey from Moscow to Vladivostok takes 6 to 7 days. A hard seat costs around $150, while sleeper cars range from $250 to $400. Food on the train is pricey, about $10 to $15 per meal. So many travelers bring instant noodles and dry bread for both savings and a taste of local experience.
That's the little lake in Moscow.
Russia is a land of paradoxes, vast yet sparsely populated, harsh yet full of life, modern yet deeply rooted in tradition. From the vibrant cities of Moscow and Saint Petersburg to the frozen stretches of Siberia and the untouched beauty of Lake Baikal, every step reveals a new layer of this complex country. What truly makes Russia special isn't just its immense size or rich history. It's the people, individuals who have learned to live, work, and preserve their identity in a land that is both breathtakingly beautiful and brutally unforgiving.
You have to say the way Russia has managed to just keep their identity is something to be studied for years and hundreds of years. Doesn't matter World War I, World War II, Napoleon, and the Cold War, doesn't matter. They still always manage to keep their identity. Always. Great video, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. We'll see you in the next one. I'm out.